So I'm here with Christina, and you're about to watch a live poetry therapy session, and it's pretty much modeled on exactly how my poetry sessions go. So you get to see like a live example of what my work is like and the process that I go through with my students. With Christina, this is the first time that we meet in person. But we did have a talk beforehand to kind of see what her experience is like with writing. All my sessions are kind of tailored to the individual, so we go on a journey that has a lot to do with each person's personal, the things that they're thinking about, the things that they are digesting, and also their experience with writing. Because this session is real time, so it's not going to be edited down. You're going to see the whole session exactly as it is. There's periods of time where we are both writing, so I recommend that you can also write with us. So you can write what this inspires in you, what symbols come up, what things it reminds you of in your own life. So we will also provide that containment for you to have a session with us. And I'm sure that Christina's journey will also inspire you. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first poetry class ever. Ever? Writing classes? Ever. Cool, amazing. But you said that you write a lot. Cool. Just in the privacy of your own home?
Yes,
Always.
I mean, it could be somewhere else. It could be at a party, it could be somewhere else. It could be, I've definitely written stuff on a train. But in my own privacy, yes.
And do you share it with people that you feel close to you, or no one? No one sees your work.
Because I don't consider it work.
Okay. What do you consider it?
I feel like I see life through an interesting lens. Obviously, it's my own. And so I love expressing my perception of how I see things. And it ends up helping me have these breakthroughs of what stage I'm in my life. And I like having a documentation of that. Not that I ever reflect back on it or read it, but when I do, it's interesting. Like, for example, this is something I noticed by just opening the notebook, which is I never write in Greek, and this one's in Greek, and I've read it to you. Το σύμπαν έχει μια μαγική ιδιότητα και μπορεί να μπαλασσάρει τα πάντα στη ζωή, όλα έχουν μια ισορροπία. Just balance in general. Balance in kind of everything, but also letting complete go.
So they're like little notes for yourself.
Little notes or big notes.
Big notes. I was just
Or big notes.
Yeah. Like notes and
When
support for yourself.
social constructs them in this whole page. What is this about?
Okay, cool. Let's do some exercises. Let's start digging a bit. Cool. So you said earlier that we're kind of going into it with a blank slate. Like you don't have something specific. We're not starting with a specific agenda.
There's no agenda.
There's no agenda, and that's cool. Like that's a also very interesting place to start, because you're open completely to all possibilities.
I am open.
Very cool.
I'm also interested to see if I can in fact create something that is small yet heavy, containing everything in a smaller piece. And I'm also excited about the chance of being able to express myself fully in that way, without it needing 5 pages.
I love the idea of small yet heavy. I think that's a very doable, but that's a very rich goal.
No.
Nah, we can definitely do that. Let's start with a paragraph to also get a bit warmed up. So no language constraints here. We're gonna do a paragraph, maximum 15 lines.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have lines in your book, so maximum like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're describing yourself as an environment. So, and this is for this moment in time. Right now, if I were an environment, what kind of environment would I be? Pick something at random. It really doesn't, you don't have to find the perfect thing. And when you find something, commit to it, and then you ask yourself the question, like, where are the contradictions inside this environment? So if I am a forest, yeah, where is the contradiction in it? Nothing is all just beautiful.
Of course.
So look for this juxtaposition also.
I have something in mind.
Go for it.
Should I write?
Yes. It's just your time now. I'll hold the frame for you. Would you like to read to me what you wrote?
Sure. Even in this space of fertile ground for ideas, growth, connection, bloom, there lie corners, angles, ankles and ankles
Love that. Yeah.
of dry, still, damp and dark spots that need light.
So explain it to me a bit. Like tell me what it is.
I'm actually thinking of a space where there's really rich, beautiful brown homa, dirt,
Soil.
There's like this beautiful soil that is just ready for things, whether that's, and not necessarily ready for things. There are things. There's just this healthy soil that's beautiful and brown and everything it should be to foster and allow connection, bloom, growth, ideas, creativity and life to live there. But there are these corners of just dry, dead soil.
Okay. So there's some
That
patches.
Who need light.
Explain to me a bit, where are these patches? Is it mixed in with the rest of the soil? Is it on the corners?
It's the corners.
Where is this soil? Is it in a room?
It's outside.
Like in outside where?
It's like this private, safe haven of a yard.
So there's like trees all around it in a way?
No.
Okay.
Trees, lots of different. I could paint it. But I don't know how to express it. All sorts of things. Mature garden, mixed with a couple of new things and new flowers. And
so you're like zoomed in a way. You're in a zoom in of a garden.
In a zoom in of a garden, but I guess it's like a closed up thing.
Contained.
It's a contained. There's probably an apocalypse outside of it.
Now we get to it. Okay.
There's no chaos in it though.
There's no chaos in it.
Oh.
Yeah. But there might be chaos around it.
Siura.
There's definitely chaos around it. Okay, interesting. So
also known as the world.
Also known as the world. Here we go. So this is the juxtaposition of what you've got going on. So you've got this protected, contained, small, soft, fertile soil, and around the edges it's starting to dry, and that's where it's getting contact with the outside world, which is chaos, I suppose.
I guess.
So the outside is also dry.
Yes.
Because it has this contact with it. So here we have so you might want to add that to your paragraph.
I don't know how to call them. The surroundings touching the outside world are. It's still unabundant. It's not as heavy as that.
It's not dead. What is it? If it's not dead, it's
without color.
gray. What else? Feel them. Feel the texture of it. Feel the sensation of it, what it's like for that soil. So you're talking about yourself ultimately, right? I mean, that's where we began. So let's make it real to you now. That we've gone to the metaphor. Now let's.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It's scary. The surroundings touching the outside world are gray and lifeless, dry and scary.
What makes it scary?
The whole world. I don't want to go to grief. It's not really about grief. It's about it's a beautiful place. This garden that I have in mind.
Yes.
It can be scary to be alone. It can be scary to be alone and to choose to be alone.
Right.
And to embrace solitude while allowing yourself to be.
So this solitude is something you experience because of the separation from the world, because of this kind of
I'm thinking about it like so imagine you're in imagine being in a 10-year relationship
Yeah.
and you choose to go alone.
Uh-huh.
It does separate you.
Uh-huh.
Consciously taking the decision
Uh-huh.
to take yourself out of that situation
Uh-huh.
and embrace solitude, to
Uh-huh.
get better, to
Uh-huh.
be better,
Uh-huh.
and to even find out who you are. I think you can be 50 years old or 60 or 70 and still figuring out who you are. So really, figuring out who you are in solitude can be scary, but it's something that I feel everyone should go through.
Is this the phase that you're in at the moment?
I think so. I don't know.
We're always talking about you, like even when it appears as if we're talking about the world or we're talking about other people, we're mostly talking about you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there is this? I find.
I don't know if this is something that has a lot to offer in a way, like exploring this part. I don't know if there's a lot
Just trust the process.
Okay. Right.
Let's just go with it and see
Okay.
what happens.
I'm open.
Like what I find really interesting, what captivates me, is this moment, this contrast between the fertile soil and the world, and how you mentioned that the world is chaos. So
imagine a space filled with kindness and love and color, and having the world around you mostly be in a state of hurry, in a state of gray, colorless hurry, and having all this emotion and feeling that outside of this is pretty gray.
I can understand that. Yeah. And also being here in your home and seeing how colorful and warm it is out there, in there, and how I can see that you made it as your nest in a way, and how that must feel. That contact with the outside world must feel that it's burning a bit, that it's drying the skin, that it's not compatible with the colorful thing that you've created. This for me is a very interesting thing to explore. So let's write that. I want you to write a paragraph, so go all the way to the end of your paper, and let's explore this contact that you have with the world, this juxtaposition that you feel, the grayness. Don't feel shy to characterize and to go into those feelings. That's what poetry is for. We can be very angry and we can blame, we can whatever you want in poetry. Yeah. Okay? Feel this contrast between your warmth and your fertility and this chaos of the outside world that you said.
So many words pop up, so many words come out that I feel like are also in contrast, which is interesting.
But you can find
rage and color, for example.
Again?
Rage and color.
Rage and color, yeah. I think it's very cool to add it's nice that you're making a list of words. We can use them later also. Yeah. Start with a paragraph, then we're going to do something more abstract in a bit to work with language.
Okay. if I'm answering your question.
It doesn't matter.
But I have this flow.
Yeah.
Actually cringing at the last sentence.
Actually, a cringe is usually a good sign. It means that you're riding beyond your comfort zone in a way.
Sure.
Go on, tell me.
So, I'm writing, if only there was a way to protect ourselves from the scary part of the outside world. If only I was able to share the creative side that I've come to be reintroduced to, and if only there was a safe space to be. The world is a scary place filled with those that have an agenda and suck the energy from you, but if only we could just trust first ourselves and then those that show signs of kindness and authenticity, the world can be a beautiful place.
I see.
There's this little poem for me,
Yes.
which starts with, isn't it interesting how da da da,
Mm-hmm.
and isn't it interesting how da da da, and have you thought of da da da,
Uh-huh.
and it ends in a positive way, but
Okay.
it starts pretty dark.
Okay. Yeah.
Think with this.
Uh-huh. So tell me a bit about this. Tell me a bit about the feelings underneath it.
I feel like when you connect to people, it
Mhm.
could be friends, it could be anyone.
Mm-hmm.
When you truly connect with people and you probably. You need to find the balance of being able to continue doing that without it getting a piece of your soul every time. So to actually have the ability to create, whether that's art, playing music or writing, to be able to even share your soul, and by sharing your soul I mean reaching a point where you can actually express yourself successfully, then to actually reach that balance of being able to protect yourself while also continuing to connect and share can be a beautiful thing.
What do you mean in this context when you say protect yourself? Like, what is it that you are protecting yourself from in a way?
I guess people come and go. We're all passing by. People are passing by. We've all had people who come and pass by. And if they're helping in any sort of way this garden and they're adding things to it, there's a balance. But if they're creating these dark, dry corners, we need to come in and protect those corners.
You know, what I'm hearing is, like, I totally understand what you're saying, and what I'm hearing is this kind of almost pain of past.
There's fear of sharing.
Yeah, because of
People
past.
passing by.
Yes, people. Is it the passing by, and the leaving? Is that the thing that causes the pain?
I feel it's connection versus absence.
Right.
Which can also translate to someone gardening every day for 2 hours a day for a week, and then just never doing it again for 6 months. So it also kind of translates into other things. It's not necessarily with people. It's whether you are connecting with something and then completely letting it go.
I see. We're talking about consistency and presence and like being there genuinely, rather than.
I feel I feel in this scenario you're always there genuinely and present. In this case, me.
You as this
but
garden. Yes.
Isn't it uncomfortable to talk about yourself? It's really interesting. It's nice to do uncomfortable.
What is it that makes you uncomfortable?
Figuring it out.
Figuring it out now out loud in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Expressing it.
Yeah.
So it's about genuinely being there in whatever interest you have. You are there genuinely. But will you be doing it in 6 months?
Yeah.
There could be connection and absence. You could be doing something you're really into, like playing the piano for 10 years, and then you let it go. And it's like you're breaking up with the piano.
That's right. Yeah. That's
and then
right.
there's this absence.
Yes.
And I guess finding yourself in a caring way includes choosing. Obviously, you always make a choice. Who and what you want to remain in your surrounding, in your life. Sometimes you don't get to choose though, and people might pass by.
Yes.
And other times you get to choose.
Yes.
So obviously I'm someone who lost a very dear friend recently, so there is the grief of not having the choice.
Yes.
But I'm also someone who chose to come out of a 10-year relationship, and there was choice. So just connection and then absence is an interesting link to this garden.
I feel like we've come to like the seed of it in a way now that you also brought in your very real experience. It's like we've reached to this point, and I really like this juxtaposition of choice, like when you have the choice and when you don't have the choice,
Mhm.
when you lose out of choice and when you lose without choice.
Mhm.
I feel like there should be one more paragraph on this before we start to condense and get you to your short and heavy, what was it, small yet heavy piece.
It's getting
Getting heavy. I mean, a small thing has a lot of backstory. That's why it's heavy, because it's condensed from a lot of text
for sure.
to the important things. That's why we're writing a lot.
For sure. I see it.
Okay.
I see it.
Nice. So give me one more paragraph of text, and then we'll get into condensing it.
Should it be any type of text? What should it
It's
be?
a text around this thing that we found about choice, about loss, about when you can choose and when you can't, and whatever else will come around there.
And I'm writing it in a way explaining how it feels or explaining what it means to me. Mixing both.
I would replace the word explaining with the word exploring for yourself, rather. Like use the writing as a way to digest this concept of when do we choose, what is loss feel. I mean, I like the way of saying what does it feel like. It's a very good place to start. It's how it feels, but make it more like
that is a good place.
Yes, start there. I like the way you use your notebook. It's more abstract. You're like a little bit here, a little bit here.
I'm respecting this space of keywords. It's not a paragraph anymore, but I'm finishing.
I think it's an excellent sign
I feel
that
it's
you're
a paragraph.
Yeah, I think it's really good that you're writing for a long time. And you found something.
I have. Kind.
Do you feel like you want to read me the text or give me the gist of it?
The gist of it is, well, actually, I could read it.
Go for it.
Loss, whether you choose it or not, can be heavy. Heavy because we are conditioned to live lightly. Eat the food, work the work, see the friends. But choice of loss can be so very liberating in choosing yourself and choosing to be uncomfortable and true rather than just comfortable. And sometimes we don't even get to choose. Who would have thought? A huge part of your garden can die from a moment to the next. And yes, I want to be selfish and keep things, people, and the connections for myself, including never having to go through the loss of a close friend. But connections, living, sharing, learning, and being yourself in true form and allowing vulnerability is living itself. So connection and the absence of it can both be painful, but what is life without pain or loss?
Yeah. You did find something.
Eat the food, work the work, is
Love
your friends.
that, yeah.
I was gonna give you the gist, but then I saw eat the food, work the work.
No, that works really good. You found it. You found your topic. There's so much to say around this, and you know what? You specifically have a lot to say around this, like because you've been in these concepts and you've been face to face with these concepts recently.
And I love reaching to the conclusion of both connection and absence is pain.
Yeah.
Both can be uncomfortable, and therefore the balance.
Yeah. And it's part of the texture of it, isn't it? It's like sometimes connection, sometimes loss. It all comes with connection comes with perhaps even the guarantee of loss at a certain point.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. With a choice or not.
Yeah, with a choice or not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the option. That's the wild card. You don't know. So select me 3 sentences out of pretty much everything you've written. Lexi, 3 to 5. 3 to 5 sentences from everything you've written today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. They don't need to be relevant to one another. Just something you like. You're like, that worked.
What if it means nothing to someone else?
Well, you can write the most profound thing and it might mean nothing to someone else.
True.
And you can write a collection of words and it might mean something to someone. Yeah. It's hard to write for the audience. Just do the process.
So for me,
yes. It's what it makes you feel, like that, like satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
gonna write them on the new.
Okay. And I can change them?
For now, no. We're
Okay.
gonna change them in a bit. Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
change them.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now should I write them?
Yes. And you get to choose which order they are in now.
I like the order, I feel.
Mm.
I like the order.
You like the order that it's already in, you mean?
Yeah.
It does make sense, because we did go on a kind of journey.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not sure about the last one. If it kind of brings all that, but I guess I'm choosing these.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Fertile ground, corners, angles, and ankles. Safe space to be, kindness and authenticity. Eat the food, work the work. Choosing to be uncomfortable and true. And sometimes we don't even get to choose. What is life without pain?
Yeah. Cool. Very good. Okay.
I like these cards.
Yeah. You know what a haiku is?
I think it's when it doesn't necessarily rhyme. No.
No, a haiku is a Japanese form of poetry that it's 3 lines, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables.
So they have to,
Yes.
they do have rules in the haiku.
Yeah, very, very strict rules.
Okay.
So
3, 5, or 7?
3, 5, 7. No, 3, 5, 7. So the first line is 5. What did I say? The
3,
first
5, 7?
No, 3 lines. The first line is 5 syllables. The second line is 7 syllables. The third line is 5 syllables.
Okay.
And this puts an enormous amount of pressure on the language because the rules are very strict. And usually you're not going to interrupt your sentence midway through, right, to carry it through. Or if you're going to do that, you need to do that in a way that makes sense. So you need to kind of fit your concept into three lines, and the third line is kind of like it's like the turnaround, the revelation, the full stop. So
I like that.
let's try to put this into the haiku. And what you do that with is by prioritizing the essence of what you're trying to say. So that's what the most important thing is.
While also counting syllables.
Yes, while trying to stuff it into this content.
Wow.
And this creates this tension that refines what you're trying to say.
Okay.
So,
Not even words, we're counting syllables.
yes.
Okay.
You have to be in a way ruthless with
Yeah.
what you pick.
Yeah.
Let's do it in a way that the first few times things we write are not absolute, let's just try a bunch of different stuff. Adios, we can be here like fighting for each
So 3 hours of
yeah.
this. Yeah, you have to be ruthless. Huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
What happens after fertile ground?
I mean, I like this part.
Yes.
Eat the food, work the work, choosing to be uncomfortable and true.
Eat
Sometimes we don't
work
even get
the
to choose.
Work. Look, eat the food, work the work is 6 syllables. So maybe you can mush something so that it fits. Eat food, work, you could say.
I was even thinking eat the work, but no.
Why not? And this changes what you're trying to say slightly, but
does.
eat the work.
It does change the meaning.
It does a bit. Unless what you're trying to say is eat daily life, do the daily things.
Do the daily things.
Eat the work, in a way, is saying do the daily things.
Yes. Unless it also means be a shark at work. Like eat the work.
I think the rest of your poem will
Nah.
make it clear that that's not what you mean. But anyway, eat the work is 3 syllables, so you've still got 2 syllables to play with that concept, make it clean. Eat the work with food. Eat the food, work.
What
you
about-
could say.
I mean, it's very simple.
Uh-huh.
It's too simplified, but eat the food and work. That's basically what I want to say.
Like food and work. Yeah, let's go with that.
For me, the food means obviously you do it to survive. Obviously, everyone is eating food, so you eat the food, and everyone is working. You work the work.
Yeah.
But it can be lifeless.
Yes. I think it has that quality that you're saying. Eat the food and work. It gives that sort of
Yes.
do what you have to do the banal.
Yes. So eat the food and work. Uncomfortable is a big word.
Yeah, it's 5 syllables.
I mean, it's 4, right? Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable is actually
Is it?
uncomfortable
That's true.
is the correct.
Uncomfortable and
Yeah.
true. Is that
Uncomfortable and true. You know what else is 7?
don't even get to choose.
Sometimes you don't get to choose is also 7.
Sometimes you don't even get to what?
Well, sometimes we don't get to.
Don't get to choose.
Sometimes we don't get to choose 7.
I mean, uncomfortable and okay. Kind of want to use it for something else, but eat the food and work. sometimes we don't get to choose. Eat the food and work, sometimes we don't get to choose. Uncomfortable and true, but it's 7.
It's two different poems. They're split into two now, and it's all about the third line, basically. With the third line, you define what you're writing about.
Yes.
And you get to choose if you want to use the 7 line of uncomfortable and true, or sometimes you don't get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have to choose. So let's think what the third line could be.
I like the order of eat the food and work. Sometimes we don't get to choose.
Yeah.
But to make sure it doesn't change the meaning and remains there, and there's a punchline, the third is so very important.
It's very, very important indeed.
Painful yet true.
Painful yet true. Yes. Okay, so now read that version of the haiku.
Eat the food and work. Sometimes we don't get to choose. Painful yet true.
What is that poem saying?
Eat the food and work. You're living life, you're comfortable, you're doing the things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't get to choose. Shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
Things change.
Mm-hmm.
Painful yet true. It's best if you follow this route of go through pain, but yet remain true.
Yeah, I see
So
what
it's
you mean.
it's about breaking your comfort to
Yes.
the discomfort, being vulnerable, accepting change, embracing the pain, the loss, in order to be true and authentic, basically.
I mean, I understand how that's what that means after we've gone through all this process. But if I saw this poem without knowing what we had gone through, I feel like what it's saying is, do your daily thing, because sometimes you don't have the power to choose what you eat, what you do. Yes, and that's the painful reality of it. That's what I feel like you're saying. And
Which I don't
I
want
don't
to say
think that that's what you want to say.
Um,
We're missing that aspect of loss, I think, because the choose is now about the food and the work, which is not what it was about originally.
For sure. Okay.
What else you got in that paragraph there?
I feel like instead of sometimes you don't get to choose, this should be about loss, like rather than saying it like that. So eat the food and work. But sometimes you go through loss. Like, but what I have in here is what is life without pain?
Yeah.
What is life?
Yes.
Life is one.
Yes.
What is life without pain is 6. But what is life without pain? Eat the food and work, but what is life without pain? Kind of goes more towards this.
It does. You're going towards it now. Yes. The interesting thing about what you're saying now and what makes it work really well is that this eat the food and work means daily life, normal, and then suddenly there's loss. And sometimes that feels like a shock. So it's kind of like you're talking about the shock of loss here. The fact that it can come at any moment.
Exactly.
So how do we say that it can come at any moment? Like loss, like that's what you want that shock, you want to feel that shock of while I'm eating my food and working something.
But pain comes without choice. I don't like how simple it sounds.
The word pain, yes. Perhaps the loss is... But loss comes without choice. Wait, loss comes without. What does loss come without, other than choice? Sometimes it comes with choice.
Yeah.
So what does it actually come without?
I mean, I like that you have reminded me about the choice. If it wouldn't work, but loss comes, or without the bond.
Mm-hmm.
Loss comes. But loss comes with or without choice, and loss can be pain.
Loss comes with.
Bad loss comes with or bad loss comes with or. Okay.
Now it's 8.
Loss comes. This is ruthless.
Yes.
Loss comes with or without change.
Choice.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That works. Yeah. Nice. You've given now you just need to wrap it up. Don't serve it on a platter. Don't say like pain. Life is full of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Wrap it in a nice. You feel what I'm talking about.
I do, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard.
And this is so helpful.
Mm. This is everything that you worked before. It's the distillation.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah.
Yes.
For us to start like this without having this impossible.
Can you imagine?
No.
Impossible. Impossible.
We would be writing bullshit for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Although that sounds fun, writing something, whatever, and then trying to find meaning.
Yeah,
but
that's also cool.
totally
Yeah,
different.
that's a different way. Yeah.
Okay.
Baby.
Ruthless.
It's also a good time to ask yourself a bit like, what is it for you right now? What is important for you to say? Because you've said eat and work. Sometimes loss comes with or without choice, and sort of what you're saying is it fucks everything up, or it upturns the table.
My very next thought is, that isn't it interesting how.
Oh, very nice. But isn't
That's
if it wasn't
the context of what I want to say is that isn't it interesting how.
you could say interesting how. You can even put question mark, interesting how. It doesn't matter that it's a grammatical sort of, but it works to the. I like this, and ending it on a sentence is very open.
It's so ruthless. How can you put that in 5 syllables? Right?
Try to condense
This
your
whole
whole
thing.
cosmotheoria.
Yeah.
And then
This whole thing, that isn't it interesting how there's so much you can write on just that.
yeah.
So you're saying interesting how even that is interesting how.
Question mark. And let the audience do the rest.
If the food and work, loss comes with or without choice. Interesting how. Wow.
I love it.
This is small and heavy.
Yeah, right?
This is small and heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I can see how someone would go through this and then work on just that.
Yeah. I mean, you can work on that for a long time. Changing little variations, making it. But I really like how you ended it in this. Isn't it interesting how? Because what you do is you open
Yes.
in my mind the question. Isn't it interesting how?
And the word interest has hopeful spark to it in a way.
It does. Yeah, it does, I suppose. Yeah. It's not only horrible. It's interesting. It's engaging the world.
Yeah.
It might be lost, but it's wow. Very nice.
I love it.
We did it.
We did it. This exists. This has happened.
That was it.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
And this also inspires you to do so much more.
Uh-huh.
This inspires me to write so much about even what I've written before. Isn't it interesting how...
Now it begins, right?
Now it begins.
Now it begins.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I feel like I want homework.
You can, yeah. Normally, I would give my students homework. So the
homework.
The normal homework that I do, it depends on each person. But something that is very standard. The sun is in your eyes, I can tell. But something that is very standard is beginning a daily writing practice. So writing 1 page every day of just like word vomit, basically whatever's in your head every day. Yes, every day. Like practicing a non-negotiable habit, and building that kind of trust in that space between you and you, that your being knows that every day I'm gonna have this space. That's super helpful. And then after that, for you as a specific person, what I would do is I would practice putting constrictions on my work, because I feel like it sharpens it. It sharpens it and it creates momentum. So one thing that I would play with is this condensing thing that we did. So from your paragraphs, things that are painful and worthwhile, to bring them to haiku format. The other thing you can do is an alphabet poem.
What's that?
Every line of the poem starts with the next letter of the alphabet, basically, going all the way down to Z. And that's the only rule. Stuff like that.
Is there anything else with that kind of rule? Or for example, writing every day, would you then say, this is the amount I want to write every day?
Yeah.
Or it could be however much, as long as you do it every day.
No, it's a really good idea to also know how much you're going to write. Maximum containment is what we're going for, so no thought involved. I know that I need to write every day, and I write 1 page.
No thought involved?
No.
So you really mean word vomit?
No.
Just like...
It's not the content necessarily that is no thought involved. It's more like the process. I need to be there, let's say. And then I need to... You can either set a 10-minute timer or 20-minute timer.
I love the timer.
Or, yeah.
I love that.
Or write 1 page. I write 3 pages, for example, which is like takes me an hour and a half.
I love it.
I recommend. I think you have a lot to say.
If it wouldn't work, lost country or without choice. Interesting how.
Yeah.
Bravo.
That was fantastic. I had so much fun. An amazing time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Cool. And we only went like 8 minutes over. That's awesome. We did that all in an hour.
Really?
Μία ώρα και 8 λεπτά.
Amazing.
And να κάνω ένα introduction. How do you want me to introduce you? Shall I use your full name? You have a nickname? How do your friends call you?
I don't have a nickname. Christina.
They call you Christina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Christina. I mean, you can use either Christina or Christina.
Cool.
Yeah.